Are you worried about today's dire financial situation?
Put simply, I would argue the Biden economic plan is working.
The storms on Wall Street continue today after regulators seized the assets of Silicon Valley Bank, marking the largest bank failure since the 2008 financial crisis.
Do you worry you'll have enough to pay your mortgage, pay your children's college tuition, enough to retire?
I believe our banking system remains strong.
Regional banks in focus once again today as the market digests the fallout of the First Republic failure.
You have questions, we have answers. It's the gold standard with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn.
Yes, it is, and we thank you for joining us. Once again, we are back together. Ken Russo, Jennifer Horn, you have found the Gold Standard radio show. And Ken Russo, I'm happy to see you, but today's show is going to be a pretty big warning about the safety and security, the value of your money, and the safety of your money.
Yeah, probably everybody's going, oh, no, not again. But we had another bank collapse on Friday.
Crazy.
I don't know how many people heard it.
Well,
We've mentioned that on a Friday afternoon, right?
That's when you dump all the bad news, right? And people don't even pick it up by Monday. And with so many other things dominating the news cycle, this is probably the most important thing, the safety of your money. And we should know about the banks, but the media hides it from us. So we're going to jump into that today and talk about what you need to know to keep your money safe. And you can do that with gold and precious metals from Midas Gold Group, veteran-owned guys, and they are America First patriots. You can go see them face-to-face in Phoenix, Arizona, in Thousand Oaks, California, 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-4653, or you can text GOLD to 232425. Now, Ken, we normally start the show by kind of taking a look as to how we got where we are today, and that's with Richard Nixon. And typically we hear from Richard Nixon. We have a little fun with it, but you actually printed the words out, and what he said was pretty darn disturbing.
Well, yeah. I mean, 1971, 52 years ago, and we make fun of it all the time. I am not a crook. And, we say that.
Do a great impression.
We have a fiat system, which means our money's not backed by anything. See, it used to be backed by gold, like this gold coin right here.
Yeah, well, tell us what you brought in, because that's beautiful.
Well, this is a $20 gold piece that was made between 1849 and 1907, and it's the original double eagle. They call this the Liberty Head.
And that was worth $20.
Yeah, and you can go to the bank, and the banks at that time were very safe, and obviously you can go there and you can bring them a $20 bill, and they would have given you this $20 gold piece.
Gold piece, right.
Place is supposed to keep our money safe, but, in 1933, the United States devalued our money, and they basically took the United States off the gold standard. And then in 1971, Richard Nixon took the whole world completely off the gold standard. And let's see what he said real quick. The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Okay, well, what we could do is we can kind of critique this as we go along.
Love it.
So if the economy was so strong, then why exactly would we have to devalue our money?
Because that's a good statement on its value, right? The strongest economy. We always like American exceptionalism.
It's kind of like a little bit of what we're hearing today.
You're
Everything is so great.
We are great and
Bidenomics is working. You want to know what I say? Shut the front door. Okay, let's continue. I have directed Secretary Connolly to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connolly to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold and other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States. So, a statement there, all right, the United States, and obviously they kind of probably knew they were going to try to make the dollar the petrodollar. And remember, at this time, the United States was already the world reserve currency.
Right.
Because of the Bretton Woods Agreement in 1944. So, let's continue. I would like to lay to rest the bugaboo of what is called devaluation. Now, listen to this, Jen. If you want to buy a foreign car, and remember, this is our President of the United States telling this to the American people, same way that like President Clinton said, I have not slept with that woman.
Right.
Okay.
So certain. in this delivery.
Or like President Bush, no new taxes.
Yeah, that
Same
was a
thing,
dud.
okay? They've been lying for decades. Or let's say, if you want to buy a foreign car, take a trip abroad, market conditions may cause your dollar to buy slightly less, but if you are among the overwhelming majority of Americans who buy American-made products in America, here it is. This is it, Jen. Your dollar will be worth just as much tomorrow as it is today. The effect of this action, in other words, will be to stabilize the dollar.
We know that's patently false.
This was 52 years ago, and what has happened in the last 52 years?
52
The dollar
years of
has
tomorrows.
lost 95% of its value.
Wow. Think about that, because you have been working for how many decades? Ask yourself. When you started earning and putting away your money for retirement, your dollar bought a certain number of things. Now, in the last few years alone, Ken, we've talked about inflation. We've talked about the price of goods and services going up. So all of that money that you've socked away, is it going to be worth the same amount that you want it to be when you actually need to access it?
I have an important question for you.
Ask me.
In 1971, what was the price of gold?
Oh, I don't know.
$30.
Wow, that's not the price
Let's
of
call
gold
it
today.
35.
Yeah,
The price today is almost 2,000.
it's incredible.
So, if you have a bank account or if you have cash sitting somewhere, like Mike, where's your cash, Mike?
Under the mattress.
Okay.
Good place.
Now, you might want to take some of that cash, Mike, and convert it
And
into
a
gold.
really big, tall mattress, I hear. He's got
Yes.
so much money under
I
there.
hope those bed bugs don't eat it up either. But listen, the gold price has gone from 35 to 2,000. And at the same time, our paper money has lost 95% of its
declined.
value. That's a
Right.
huge difference.
That's something to really remember, because when it comes to your value, and we're talking about the
Right.
value of your money right now,
Purchasing power.
purchasing power.
That's right.
Gold has maintained its value and increased its value over time. The dollar has deflated.
Yes. So the value of our money is very important. And that's one reason why people should be saying, well, with all this money printing going on, with Biden spending money, setting records for any administration, how do we hold on to the purchasing power of our money? Well, historically, that should be in gold.
And you can get your gold today if you're interested in talking this through. 855-322-4853. The people at Midas Gold Group are great individuals. You're not calling a call center. They can talk it through and find out if gold and precious metals are right for you and your family. 855-322-4653, 855-322-GOLD, or text GOLD, GOLD, to 232425.
Now, the next thing in play is the safety of our money.
This is huge.
Okay, now,
yes.
this is where this comes in. Now, last Friday, who knows when people will hear this broadcast, but another bank called Citizens Bank collapsed. That's the fifth bank this year here in the United States that has collapsed. Now, you may ask yourself, well, what's the big deal? The FDIC, they have everybody's back. They're just going to...
That's what I always thought, until you enlightened me.
It's insane. It's my contention, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this, that the United States banks, actually the banks of the world, have already collapsed. They've come out with a new program. It's called the Bank Term Funding Program. Now, if the banks were so healthy, why would they need a bank term funding program to keep them afloat?
Good question.
The same reason why, if the American economy was so great in 1971, why would we have to devalue our money and take ourselves off the gold standard? So, what I would say, folks, is trust your instincts. Understand what's going on with our money. It's going to continue to lose significant value. Our government, our central banks, the banking system is going to have to print hundreds of trillions of dollars probably over the next few years to avoid a huge collapse.
Wow.
And what is that going to do to your purchasing power? And in my opinion, we're going to talk about the safety of our money, but it's imperative that for you to stay financially intact over the next 5 or 10 years, as everything collapses, folds up like a cheap suit due to everything that's going on that we're talking about, it's imperative that you have a significant amount of your worth in physical gold and physical silver so that you could weather the storm.
Absolutely. And you do that, Midas Gold Group is the place to call. MidasGoldGroup.com for more information. 855-322-4653. That's the number to call. You'll talk to a human being. 855-322-4653. 855-322-GOLD. You can also send a text message, the word gold, to 232425, and the folks over at Midas Gold Group will get right back to you. But this is an important conversation today, Ken. We cannot underscore it enough. It's about the value of your money, but also about the safety and security of your money.
Yeah, and relevant to every American.
Yep.
You know, and I guess the easiest way to put it is, what if you can take some of that dwindling fake paper money that we all have, and you could actually convert it to something that's real money,
Right.
like gold? Isn't that something that everybody should be thinking about right now? Well, it's our contention that yes. And time's running out. We're reaching a tipping point. As you can see, folks, there's so many things that's coming together at this point. I don't know how long we're going to be able to access our money at the banks. I don't know how long we're going to be able to access our money in old 401ks, in IRAs. The time to do this is now. Make those decisions, you know, position yourself so that you could weather the financial storm that is coming, and it's quickly on top of us.
And you want something that you can hold. Gold and precious metals allow you the option to hold that money at home. Not only does gold hold its value, but it's also something that you can access when you want to. You don't have to wait around or hope that your bank stays in business or that it doesn't collapse. This is something real. So if you want something more than just digits on a page, and we sat down talking about this, that really the money that we all think we have, it's just numbers written on a piece of paper. If you want your investments, all that money you worked so hard for, to be worth more than just a piece of paper, it's time to take that powerful step of adding gold and precious metals to your investment portfolio. You do it today. The folks at Midas Gold Group, MidasGoldGroup.com, 855-322-4653, 855-322-GOLD. You can always text the word gold to 232425.
Very convenient.
Very convenient.
Yes.
If you're more of a texter rather than a caller, you know, this is something great. And then Midas gets back to you and you don't have to wait around on the phones.
Yeah, and we don't share any of our clients' information. Privacy is very important. We didn't even talk about the privacy of our money. You know, that's another thing that's very, very important. We'll spend a little bit more time on it. But today we're focused on actually being able to access that money, having it be worth something, and then at least this way we have options and we have some decisions to make.
Yeah, you want to make sure that you have options. You're giving yourself the best chance. You don't want to wait until everything collapses and everybody is trying to play catch up. Now is the time. If you've been hearing our voices for 10 weeks or 1 week, now's the time to call Midas Gold Group. Ken Russo's even there. You never know. You might be able to see him. He's in the Thousand Oaks office. You can go see the folks in Arizona as well, in Phoenix. 855-322-4653. 855-322-GOLD, MidasGoldGroup.com. Text GOLD to 232425. Ken Russo, Jennifer Horn, this is the Gold Standard Radio Show.
Dr. Gorka here. You're listening to The Gold Standard with your hosts, Ken Russo from veteran-owned Midas Gold Group and Jennifer Horn. Owning private money in the form of physical gold and silver is perhaps more important than ever to your long-term financial security. As U.S. banks fail, the Biden administration sends hundreds of billions abroad while depleting our strategic oil reserves. However, the biggest financial threat may be coming from within: central bank digital currency. The patents have been filed and the big banks have released plans for implementation. Midas Gold Group sees tyrannical implications: the end of cash, the end of financial privacy, big government able to see your every purchase. Could there be ties to social credit? Hear more commentary on the political and economic issues that affect your financial security right here on the Gold Standard. You can create your own Gold Standard with a call to Midas Gold Group, 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653, MidasGoldGroup.com.
Welcome back. It is the Gold Standard Radio Show with Ken Russo and Jennifer Horn. We thank you for joining us. And we're talking about the value and, more importantly now, the safety of your money. And a lot of the news about the banks, well, it gets buried in the news cycle. Maybe it doesn't even make its way out to the consumers. But Ken, let's start, because in the news this week,
funny how some of that news is buried.
Isn't it? It's a real thing.
Buried.
You know, so many people talk about fake news, and they talk about this. We talk about it on talk radio all the time. It's even less about fake news and more about the choice of what news they want you to hear. And that's a huge element to what we're talking about today, because they don't want you to pull all your money out of the bank. They don't want you to look into gold and silver at the government, because that would mean personal responsibility and less of the ability for them to control your life. So let's talk about the banks, because there was big news today or this week with Citibank.
Yeah, and shocking. And actually, I was surprised. I was surprised to know, well, first of all, Citigroup announced that they're thinking about laying off 10% of its workforce.
It's not a great sign.
That's 24,000 employees.
Wow.
Okay? This is what shocked me, Jen. The Citigroup stock has lost 92% of its value since 2007.
Mm-hmm. Huge.
Citibank is the third largest U.S. bank by assets.
Yeah, so how does it go? The top three? It's
Well, I think it's J.P. Morgan, Chase, Bank of America, and then
Citibank.
Citibank.
Yeah, they're up there.
Not to mention, there's $1.14 trillion at Citibank that lacks FDIC insurance.
Repeat that number, 1.4?
$1.14 trillion in deposits here and abroad underneath the Citibank umbrella that lacks FDIC insurance. Now, this is one bank. There's 4,500 banks. Not to mention, you and I did a discussion a few weeks ago, and I think there was $4 trillion in uninsured deposits, $4 trillion with a T, in the top four banks, which were Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, and J.P. Morgan Chase.
Mm-hmm.
The entire bailout from the subprime mortgage crisis in 2008 for the banks was $800 billion. The whole bailout.
Okay.
This is one bank that has over $1 trillion in uninsured FDIC deposits. So how crazy, this is outrageous and huge. I mean, these numbers just keep getting astronomical. But what's really crazy, Jen, is you have these banks that are drowning in unrealized losses. They're on these special programs just to keep them afloat. I mean, it's my contention that they're already insolvent. They're just kind of slow walking the inevitable. They allow these banks to trade tens of trillions of dollars and hundreds of trillions of dollars of these financial derivatives.
Yeah.
So not only are they unsafe, they're the most risky entities in all of the markets.
And we're blindly out there trusting these banks with our money.
Yeah, because these are the places that are supposed to be keeping our money safe. It's supposed to be a vault, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our contention is be your own bank.
Yeah.
Create your own vault. You know, a lot of that money's better off in your own possession in gold. Store it away. If you're uncomfortable with storing your gold, put some money into a good, heavy safe. No one's going to be able to get into it. I'm very worried that we're not going to be able to access our money when we need it. I'm very concerned that the banking sector may pass laws that we're only able to take out a certain portion of our money or a certain percentage each year. I'm very concerned that our IRAs or our old 401ks are not going to be accessible when we need it, because let's face it, folks, this is all connected. You know, the banking system is connected to all the markets. The markets are global. It's all connected to the currency markets. This is one big mess.
Yeah, and there's no one left to bail you out. You have to bail yourself out. And that's why we say be your own bank by bringing gold home with you so that you can access the money when you need it. One of the things that you mentioned, the FDIC insurance and that large sum of money, $1.14 trillion uninsured. So you've already told me that what's the government going to do? If your money's insured anyway, this isn't even a government entity. It's just going to be more bank bailouts, which is, again, going to affect the value of your money. But if you've got banks collapsing, the insurance doesn't matter.
Well, that's right. And remember, in 2008, 2009, they passed the Dodd-Frank Act.
Mm-hmm.
They're not supposed to be doing bailouts anymore. They're supposed to be doing bail-ins, which means that they keep some of our deposits to pay for the losses.
And what will people do?
Can you imagine the pandemonium when the first bank goes down? And that's why they bailed out all these banks so far this year, and they made everybody whole. They're probably just hoping and praying, well, maybe this is going to be the last one that goes down. We'll just sweep it under the rug. No one's going to notice. Well, I'll tell you, folks, this is an industry-wide problem. The interest rate situation is is going much, much higher eventually. The debt is so much bigger than where it was even 15 or 20 years ago. This is a situation where you need to take precautions. You need to diversify your savings. You need to diversify your IRAs. You need to diversify your stock and your bond holdings. There's no way in the world anybody can justify to me at this time that you should have all of your assets, paper assets, connected to a sick, dying system like this. You have to diversify. Every single American should be thinking about this. The problem, Jen, is not going to be having too much gold or too much silver. The problem is going to be not having access and having too much connected to a sick, dying financial system that's only being propped up and kept alive by more and more trillions of dollars of fake printed money.
Yeah, not too much gold, but too much of that money that's only worth the paper that it's printed on. And this is why we tell you it's time. If you've been thinking about it, now is the time. Don't wait for the perfect storm because the clouds are forming. You keep your eyes on the news. You will see it. 855-322-4653, 855-322-GOLD. That's the number to call from anywhere in the country, 855-322-4653. If you like to text, you can text the word GOLD to 232425, and someone will get back to you. That's the word GOLD to 232425. You can always get information at Midas Gold Group. And what makes Midas unique is that you can actually go see them in person. So you know who you're dealing with in Thousand Oaks, California, if you are in Southern California, in Phoenix, Arizona, if you're in the state of Arizona. Get on out there, 855-322-4653. You don't want to be playing the I shoulda, woulda, coulda game with your money. You've worked too hard for it.
Yeah, you can't trust the banks, Jen. And you want to know what? Trusting gold dealers is tough, too. Because
that's right.
You know, we've come across even some clients in the last few weeks that have done business with gold dealers that they had a special arrangement with like a Canadian mint, and they put their clients into these coins that have these weird animals on them. It's crazy because those benefit the dealer. They charge a huge markup, but there may not be anybody to buy those coins when a client is ready to sell them. Remember, somebody has to be willing to buy those.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of clients that are very upset about the coins they have. Give us a call. We can give you a free evaluation. Not to mention, these dealers don't even want to talk to people when they need to sell.
Right.
Sometimes they need to sell. It's a big advantage to have a very close relationship with a gold and silver dealer at this time, especially with where we're headed. So give us a try, maybe give us an opportunity to earn your trust. But I would just say that between diversifying your paper assets and having the right type of gold and the right type of silver at this point, it's very, very important.
It's
and
imperative.
I can't stress it enough.
And you hear these warnings, and I know how we all are. We think, you know what, I'm going to get to it next week. I'm going to get to it next month. And then all of a sudden, the closed sign is on your local bank branch. That is not where you want to be. Personal responsibility over trust in a failing system. Personal responsibility over trust in a government system that has failed us. Unfortunately, this is not a partisan thing. Democrats and Republicans love to lie to you about the safety and security of your money, the safety and security of your investments. We heard from Richard Nixon all the way down the line. We hear Janet Yellen every week saying that things are safe.
We could support 2 more wars. And, a lot of these branches are closing too, Jen.
That's
these
right.
bank branches are closing. A lot of people may live far, far away from a convenient branch. A lot of these branches are becoming, like investment houses, where they just have advisors. It's getting crazy. It's getting chaotic. And I would just really urge people to distance themselves to a degree from these entities, from what's coming. Give themselves the ability to survive financially and participate in our next financial system, which I think gold and silver will have a much bigger role. Financially survive. That's the message.
Absolutely. Financially survive. That's right. And you do it by calling Midas Gold Group. If you need a new gold dealer, if you're looking for someone you can trust, Midas Gold Group, America First Patriots. They are absolutely veteran owned. Everybody you talk to there will be able to go through your situation individually. This isn't just a big room with the call center. 855-322-4653, 855-322-GOLD. If you are brand new, don't be scared. Make the phone call, 855-322-4653, 855-322-GOLD. You can also text GOLD to 23 24 25 and always Midas Gold Group. Ken Russo, thank you so much for being with us. I'm
Thank you,
Jennifer
Jen.
Horn. This is a Gold Standard Radio Show. Thanks for being with us.